For the crime of terror, dinosaurs take the rap. But when it comes to viciousness, one outstrips all the others: the raptor. Today, raptors are Hollywood superstars. But for the dinosaur detectives, they are the prime suspects in murders committed over 100 million years ago. In the midday heat, a herd of plant-eating dinosaurs graze. 1/3 larger than an elephant, a Tenontosaurus feasts on the succulent vegetation, oblivious to the mortal danger it faces. A few feet away, a killer watches and waits for the right moment to attack. Seconds later, it strikes in a frenzy of slashing teeth and claws. Though the victim is 4 times larger in size, it's brought down with ease and violently stabbed to death. In minutes, the beast will be dismembered. The remains of the victim lay undiscovered for over 100 million years, until dinosaur detective Des Maxwell of New York's College of Osteopathic Medicine came across this killing while he was fossil hunting near Billings, Montana. Today, he's returned to the scene of the crime, a remote spot near Blue Water Creek, to find evidence that may have been overlooked.
This is where we find the complete Tenontosaurus. It was a subadult. We know that it's about 14 feet long. Fully grown Tenontosaurus is about 23 feet long. And the unusual thing with the skeleton was that while we were digging it up, we noticed amongst the skeleton, around the hind limbs, parts of which were missing, that we had these teeth that are obviously meat eaters. They don't belong to Tenontosaurus.
These sharp teeth are very different to those of Tenontosaurus, which have ridges on the front and are flat on the back, ideal for chewing and grinding.
You contrast this with this tooth, which is obviously very pointed and sharp and has little serrations on each side. It's just like a steak knife. It's for slicing through flesh.
Des Maxwell had what looked like the murder weapon and the remains of a dead body. But would the evidence hold up, or was it circumstantial? Soon, he learned that dinosaur hunters from Yale University had seen the same pattern many times before: big bones and small teeth. This hill, known as the Shrine, is where a team led by renowned paleontologist John Ostrom uncovered another Tenontosaurus way back in 1964.
I was being shown the sites that they had recorded in the previous week, and we were on our way to look at the last locality on my agenda for that afternoon.
About 10 feet from the path, Ostrom saw a strange bone laying on the ground. They had only to scratch the surface to recover the parts of one foot and several pieces of a hand, but they immediately recognized this creature was something new and very deadly. Among the fossil bones, they found a lethal weapon. A claw, 3 inches long with a dagger-like tip. Did this claw belong to the killer? For the next 2 years, the Yale's dinosaur detectives scoured the site for further clues. They suspected a violent struggle had taken place that killed the Tenontosaurus, but also fatally wounded its mysterious dinosaur. Along with its claws, they also found the jagged teeth of a predator, mounting evidence that now pointed to the prime suspect. A small dinosaur, only about 10 or 11 feet in length and less than the height of a man. Like other meat eaters, it had a mouth full of razor-sharp teeth that could easily rip through flesh. But by far the deadliest weapon and the biggest clue it left behind was the sickle-like claw on the inside toe of each foot. It was this weapon that persuaded John Ostrom to christen the beast Deinonychus, meaning terrible claw. The dinosaur detectives had solid proof their suspect, Deinonychus, was at the scene when the victim was slaughtered. But Des Maxwell still questioned how a killer so small could overwhelm a victim so big. What happened that fateful day when an unsuspecting Tenontosaurus had its appointment with death? The discovery of Deinonychus alerted paleontologists that a new gang of vicious dinosaurs had once terrorized the countryside. Because of their claws, which resemble those on a bird of prey, they are called raptors. With a possible murder weapon and a suspect with motive and opportunity, the dinosaur detectives now called for backup. One vital clue was still missing.
Fermi David 5 turning around.
How could a small raptor snuff out a large vegetarian dinosaur like Tenontosaurus? Bob Bacher picks up the chase.
That's the thigh of Vegisaur, big clunky plant eater. That could be a meal for a pack of raptors. Raptors were the martial arts specialists of the Dinosauria. They could run, they could turn, they could leap, they had powerful thighs, great calf muscles, and a quick ankle movement. It would be very hard to get away from a raptor, but boy, it'd be great to be a raptor. Raptors were kickboxing dinosaurs, leaping, dancing. They could hit you with the front paw or back paw. A raptor is a Cretaceous Claude Van Damme.
The fastest two-legged animal in the world is the ostrich. Equipped with a powerful upper leg muscle, it can reach speeds up to 40 miles an hour. Raptors shared a similar design, which gave them an awesome advantage over their prey.
Fossil footprints tell us plant eaters, vegisaurs, cruised around 2 miles an hour. Meat-eating dinosaurs, raptors, cruised faster, up to 4 miles an hour. Now, top speed, sprint, for plant eaters would be 10 times their cruising speed. That's 20 miles an hour. Now give me 40. Raptors cruised at around 4, top speed 10 times that, 40 miles an hour. There was hardly any vegisaurs that could escape a raptor in a sprint.
But speed was not all a raptor had. A cheetah is the fastest four-legged animal alive. Like this big cat, a raptor also had the power to leap onto its victim's back. In addition to speed and power, a raptor could also turn on a dime. The secret to its agility was in its rigid tail. Stiffened by bony rods running along and overlapping the bones all the way to the tip, its tail was designed for perfect balance. Outstretched, it meant a raptor running at full tilt could change direction quickly. The The Cretaceous cops were now getting to the bottom of their terrifying suspect.
Thank you, Detective. This is the Acme brand expandable baton, and it illustrates a point about a raptor's rear end. Namely, the tail was very long. When the muscles were relaxed, it was wiggly. But when the muscles around the hips contracted, it became a stiff rod, and now it could become an inertial rudder, the same sort of tool a gymnast would use in a floor exercise. You flip your rudder like that, your whole body goes. You flip it like this, your whole body goes. And if you jump and flip your tail in midair, your whole body turns. This is great for leaping and for kicking and for killing.
With its proven speed, power, and agility, Deinonychus now had the profile of a natural-born killer. The dinosaur detectives were closing in. But could this malicious band of pirouetting predators still get away with murder? Attention now turned to the weapon. It looked lethal enough, but could it kill? An animal that could outrun almost any creature alive, leap with its powerful hind legs, and pivot in midair was bad enough. But a raptor's real talent was in close combat. When Deinonychus finally caught up with its prey, it would grab onto it with its hands and then unleash its most powerful weapon, the terrible claw. In his lab in New York, Des Maxwell is extracting a raptor from a slab of rock found in Oklahoma. He hopes it will be the most complete specimen yet.
In this block, we have a nice specimen of Deinonychus. We have here part of the lower leg, the tibia and fibula, also part of the pelvis exposed, and a portion of the tail running back here. And we know that we have portions of the animal up in the front end because we've already collected portions of the hand and the shoulder girdle. Here's a claw from the hand.
The work is slow and painstaking, but he's already uncovered parts of the raptor's lower limb and foot.
I have 2 or 3 toe bones and a little claw here going into the dirt that I'm trying to uncover. But what I'm really looking for is the large claw. As we know, Deinonychus had that large sickle claw, and I got a cast of one here. And obviously I'd like to find that because, as we know, this is the claw that did all the damage.
This lethal claw sat on the end of a specially enlarged and incredibly flexible toe. The toe could be raised up and back, so when Deinonychus walked or ran, it was held in a sort of resting position.
Well, we can only imagine Deinonychus as being really effective if it was actually on the Tyrannosaurus. There's such a size difference in the two. You would think that the Deinonychus would leap up and grab a hold of the prey animal and bring up its large claw.
Like a switchblade knife, the claw was fully retractable, but in the attack position, it swiveled downwards, penetrating the Tyrannosaurus's tough skin.
So Deinonychus really had to get on and hold on to the animal and kick with this large claw to be effective.
A kickboxer with razor blades for toes, Deinonychus leapt into the air and grabbed its prey with its hands. Then it lashed out with its terrible claw, leaving a gaping wound in the belly of its victim. But the killer wasn't finished. The knee-jerk ripping and tearing continued until the animal was mutilated. Now to link the weapon to the murder. Modern-day detectives use ballistics. Bob Bacher uses bones. At Como Bluff in Wyoming, he's uncovered a raptor's lair.
140 million years ago, this was the hunting territory of a pack of raptors. We find their claws, we find their teeth, we found some partial skeletons, but we still had a lot of questions. And the biggest question was, what was the family life like? If you were born a raptor, would your parents take care of you? If you hatched out of a raptor egg, would you see mom with a big glob of meat hanging from her lips? We have the answer right here at Nail Quarry, a scene of mass mutilation and raptor family values.
Bacher and his team have discovered the remains of a large dinosaur that's been dismembered. Embedded in one of its bones was a telltale clue, teeth marks. But whose? To find out, Bob uses his Cretaceous ballistics kit.
When a meat-eating dinosaur would bite, a tooth crown would break off. That would be okay, a new one would grow in. But the broken tooth crown is like a spent bullet at a crime scene. It tells you who did what to whom. In most sites all over this valley, you get lots of carnivores, like this one, a ceratosaur. And maybe you get megalosaurs too. But at Nail Quarry, we get one and only one species of meat eater. Who is it? Wyoming raptor. And that's an adult tooth, found next to this bone. And this tooth made those gouges.
But more was to come. Next to the large gouges was a set of tiny teeth marks. Who could have made these?
Well, we've got that guy. Here it is. Here's the dinosaur bullet. Fits right in. Who is it? Baby raptor. A hatchling raptor just out of the egg. How did it get to chew on giant multi-ton prey? Well, Mama dragged them in. This is a raptor lair. This is where babies were fed on 10,000-pound steaks.
The teeth marks prove raptors fed on Tenontosaurus. But was a lone Deinonychus responsible for the gruesome murder? To be terrorized by one raptor would have been horrific. To be stalked by a gang of them is inconceivable. But at one crime scene, Des Maxwell found some startling new evidence that points to the possibility. It's not unusual for a meat-eater like Deinonychus to lose some teeth while tearing off chunks of flesh. But it took up to a year to grow them back. Deinonychus had about 70 in all. To lose 11 teeth at one sitting would have been a disaster.
If one animal is going to shed 11 teeth while it's eating, then after 5 or 6 meals, it's going to have no teeth left in its skull. So we know simply from the numbers of shed teeth at one site that we're dealing with more than one individual, more than one meat-eating dinosaur.
Like a well-orchestrated ballet, the gang of raptors circled their prey. Then, one by one, they closed in for the kill. Now, not a lone gunman, but several vicious murderers were on the loose. By design, Deinonychus was the ultimate killing machine. In a pack, it would have been awesome. Pack hunters are fast and agile, but they're also cunning. Tom Holtz of the University of Maryland likens the strategy of pack hunting to success on a pool table.
You can learn a lot about pack hunting by shooting pool. In pool, the goal is to break the pack in order to score the points. In pack hunting, the goal is to break up the herd in order to kill.
Once the balls are broken and we replace them with dinosaurs, a loose ball clearly becomes a potential feast.
The raptors have now successfully isolated this plant eater from the rest of its herd. Unprotected, it's now open for the kill. The raptors can leap up on the animal and bear it down in order to kill it.
Studying the pack mentality in a modern animal demonstrates how these big game hunters might have worked.
Well, like raptors, the Cape hunting dog of southern Africa is a small predator, but they eat very large prey items. A pack of hunting dogs charges into a herd of wildebeest to install confusion and chaos. And then the leader of the pack is able to focus in on the weakest individual of the herd. And then the pack, working together as a team, charges down the prey. And only by working in harmony are they able to do this.
Each pack has a leader, and everyone in the pack has a job. Once the victim is selected, it is chased to exhaustion then dragged down and killed. Although raptors hunted in packs like dogs, they stalked their prey like cats.
Raptors and big cats are very similar because they're both ambush predators. They don't use speed so much as agility and surprise to kill their prey. Raptors, like big cats, killed by using the leap. That's the only way they'd be able to take down a prey item as big as these things, which are much, much larger than any of them. When they got close enough to it, they can use their powerful jumping legs to leap up at the prey animal, sinking those claws into the flesh. This allowed them to use their hind legs to rip into the animal. And finally, they're able to silence the prey item by biting or slicing open its throat.
The murder of Tenontosaurus is now an open and shut case. The motive? It was Deinonychus's favorite food. Now that the crime has been solved, Deinonychus is no longer on the list of the prehistoric world's most wanted. Another villain has taken its place. In the Raptor gang, Deinonychus was just a punk. In 1993, Jim Kirkland of the Dynamation Society discovered the remains of a monster he christened Utah Raptor. Its slashing claw was 10 inches long, 3 times larger than Deinonychus's. Suddenly, raptors weren't an isolated gang of thugs, but a growing family of serial killers with the power to pack a serious punch.
Every time it kicked you, it would make a cut 5 and 6 foot long, 10 inches deep. You could probably make a cut about every 2 to 3 seconds. So in 30 seconds, you would have 10 slashes, 5 and 6 foot long, 10 inches deep. Even if you're an animal 50, 60 foot long, it would have opened up your belly and your insides would have fallen out. That's in 30 seconds.
But this was only the beginning. Terror was spreading around the world. In 1996, a team led by paleontologist Fernando Novas made what may be the most frightening discovery of them all in Argentina. He found several bones belonging to a third serial killer he dubbed Megaraptor. The bones don't justify its name, but its massive claw does. It was not 3 inches long like Deinonychus's, or 10 inches like Utah Raptors. This time, the murder weapon is 15 inches long. A claw so big, it was probably capable of leaving an 8 or 9 foot gash in one blow. Megaraptor is a sobering reminder of just how frightening the mean streets of the prehistoric world could get. 40 years ago, a murderer like Deinonychus was inconceivable. Now, Megaraptor leads the lineup of the world's most gruesome killers. Could another, even more horrifying creature be lurking in the background, waiting to be discovered?